Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. We're going to plunge into the intricate symbology of Alan Wake, a game that has captivated and puzzled players for years. While many have attempted to decipher its meaning, often focusing on the Jungian archetypes and the interaction between the conscious and subconscious mind, we're not stopping there. Today, we're diving beneath the surface to uncover the deeper, hidden layers of this dark and mysterious story of Alan Wake. In Alan Wake, the game opens with a dream sequence that sets the stage for the light vs dark theme and the foreshadowing of future events. Alan is tormented by nightmares stemming from a 2-year writer's block. He is taunted by shadowy beings who belittle his work as a writer as they attempt to kill him.
You're a joke. There would be a single readable sentence in your books if it wasn't for your editor. You'll never publish another one of your shitty stories, 'cause I'm gonna kill you. It's not like your stories are any good. Not like they have any artistic merit. You're a lousy writer. Cheap thrills and pretentious shit. That's all you're good for. Just look at me. Look at your work.
In this dream, Alan also encounters a mysterious man bathed in a bright beam of light. This man, later revealed to be Thomas Zane, informs Alan of the nature of the shadowy beings and the darkness at large, and explains to him that only light can dispel the darkness. Zane also warns of the darkness that is currently dormant but will wake once it senses Alan. When Alan awakes from his nightmare, his wife mentions that he just dozed off. Alan responds with a self-criticizing tone and says, "If I had done more than just doze off, it would be news for everyone." His words establish a frustration with himself, highlighting his inner conflict with writer's block to the player. Alan enters a diner in order to claim a key to the accommodation he'll be attending. A lady in a black dress hands Alan the key and instructions to get to the cabin and informs him that she will be there to visit him and his wife later. This lady is the antagonist of the game, who goes by the name Barbara Jagger. The name is a play on the name Baba Yaga, a Russian witch who used to eat children and lived in a house that walked around on chickens' legs. The key you received belongs to her cabin, which is on an island shaped like birds' legs and is called Bird Leg Cabin, respectively. Alice suggests Alan attempt to write again in hopes that a change of scenery would help his writing. Alan storms out and Alice is taken by the dark presence into Cauldron Lake. Alan dives into the lake and the game soon begins with a car crash. Cauldron Lake is the body of water that surrounds Bird Leg Cabin. It is home to the dark presence and acts as a high entropy zone. High entropy zones are highly disordered and unpredictable, but have a vast range of potential outcomes and possibilities, making them great for manifestation. Writers and artistic creators have been said to go to Cauldron Lake to use its power to manifest their works of art, as their literature can be turned into reality in the presence of the lake due to its supernatural properties. The lake is also a threshold to another dimension known as the Dark Place, a threshold being a point of transit from one area to another, like a waiting room. The lake is a doorway for the dark presence and is the only way in and out. The dark presence is the main antagonistic force in the game. It is a malevolent entity that emanates from within Cauldron Lake. It takes the form of a dark, shadowy mist and is able to possess people to create the Taken, who are people corrupted by the darkness, or create poltergeists that inhabit inanimate objects, or swarms of crows. This darkness can also control victims without corrupting them, allowing the victim to still think somewhat freely. Each level allows you to discover the manuscript pages scattered throughout the game. Pages can reveal to the player past, present, and future outcomes that are yet to be unveiled. Due to the dark presence and the lake, The writing of these pages allows reality to be shaped by what is written. Thomas Zane was a poet who discovered Cauldron Lake with his wife Barbara. Barbara was dragged into the lake by the dark presence. Out of desperation to get her back, Zane wrote her back into existence. But what came back was merely the dark presence that had assumed her form. Realizing this deception, Zane cut out Barbara's heart and wrote them out of existence, along with the island in a volcano eruption. Zane was taken by a bright presence, the same one that appears in Alan's dream, and has since acted as a guardian, warning other artists of the dark presence and its intentions. It is later revealed that Zane wrote a character called Alan Wake, who would one day come to Cauldron Lake and destroy the dark presence. The clicker is a light switch that is imbued with supernatural power that is strong enough to destroy the dark presence. Alan's mother gave him the light switch as a child when he was afraid of the dark. The clicker was wrote into existence by Zane while under the influence of the Cauldron Lake, granting it its special power. In the game, there are two characters named Tor and Odin, since retired from their being known as the old gods of Asgard. They come from a family lineage with clairvoyant abilities and serve as seers to Alan. They advise him to visit their homestead and drink their moonshine, which enables Alan to uncover the truth behind his wife's disappearance. A song they made also plays that guides him to locate Cynthia Weaver, the woman who possesses the clicker. Alan dives into Cauldron Lake and delves deep into the dark place. This is where he comes face to face with a sinister reflection, a doppelganger of himself, known as Mr. Scratch. This doppelganger is Alan's shadow self that switches places with him as he enters the dark place. Alan uses the clicker to destroy Barbara Jagger and the typewriter to finish the story. He writes Alice's escape, but must balance the story, so he swaps places with her instead and traps himself in the dark place. There is a spin-off game following Alan Wake called Alan Wake's American Nightmare, in what depicts Alan attempting to write himself back into the real world. His doppelganger, Mr. Scratch, is shown more in this game, and his dark nature is further revealed. Mr. Scratch tries to stop Alan by placing him in a time loop, forever looping the story. The ending, once achieved, is revealed to be little more than a story for a TV show and wasn't strong enough to bring Alan back into the real world. Alan Wake draws heavy influence from the iconic series Twin Peaks by Mark Frost and David Lynch, known for its occult themes and symbolism. There are a lot of themes that mirror between these two narratives. Both of these towns are set in remote areas of Washington state, but the fictional towns of Bright Falls and Twin Peaks share a few more striking similarities. The diner in both stories share a similar name and layout, the Double R Diner from Twin Peaks, and the Triple D Diner from Alan Wake, clearly inspired by the show. But that's not all. We also have similar characters as well. In Alan Wake, the character Rose, the waitress of the diner, mirrors characters such as Shelley appearance-wise, but her character acts more like Audrey, with her love interest being the main character, and her attempts to help with his problem at hand. And Cynthia Weaver, who shares distinct characteristics with the show's Margaret, often hiding more information than they seem to let on, and helping progress the story with their knowledge. Alan's investigation into the disappearance of his wife, and his attempt to uncover the mystery of the Cauldron Lake and dark presence, mirrors that of Twin Peaks Agent Dale Cooper's investigation of the murder of Laura Palmer, and his investigation that leads him to the Black Lodge. Also, both narratives feature a malevolent entity originating from different dimensions. The dark presence from the Dark Place, which takes the form of Barbara, and Bob from the Black Lodge, a demon who takes the form of a man. Each are portrayed as supernatural, sinister forces that the main character has to face. Eventually, both heroes also become trapped in the threshold of another dimension, Alan trapping himself in the Dark Place to destroy Barbara and release his wife, and Cooper in the Black Lodge to confront Wyndham Earl and save the girl. Each hero is then replaced by an evil doppelganger of themselves, Mr. Scratch taking Alan's place in the real world, and Mr. C that replaces Cooper and traps him in the lodge. The reason both heroes cannot return to the physical world from the threshold lies in their ego. Both face their deepest darkness and must conquer it. Their courage and morality are tested. Cooper fails to confront the darker aspects of his psyche, leading to his overpowering and entrapment in the Black Lodge, being replaced by his doppelganger. Alan's downfall is likewise rooted in his ego, particularly regarding his creative abilities in writing narratives. As his own critic, pervasive throughout the game, he casts doubt upon himself and fears he lacks the ability to create compelling stories. Alan believes he cannot create a narrative strong enough for both himself and his wife to escape, thus creating an avenue for Alice's escape while he remains trapped in the Dark Place. This is reinforced by the AWE DLC in the game Control, where Alan attributes his imprisonment to a fear of failure, doubt, and uncertainty in facing the darkness, highlighting why he is yet to escape. The owl is a bird connected to Athena and Minerva, goddesses of wisdom, knowledge, and war. Owls are said to symbolize wisdom and mystery and are able to communicate with spirits and traverse back and forth from the spiritual world. In Twin Peaks, Bob takes their form when not inhabiting a human host to watch others in the world. Owls also symbolize death, but with death comes rebirth, and act as a key instrument in guiding one through a transformation. The Owl Cave in Twin Peaks holds a map that leads Cooper to the Black Lodge, allowing him to confront his inner darkness and eventually conquer it. In Alan Wake, Alan writes his manuscript at a desk with an owl sitting on the wall above. This owl is only seen in that room, and from there he embarks on a journey to gain knowledge and go through a transformation of the self. The Mauve Zone is something of esoteric knowledge. It's private and obscured and considered hard to find information on. It's usually related to subjects of mysticism or arcane knowledge. Exoteric knowledge, on the other hand, is more widespread and accessible, and is more shared and passed down between groups and the public. The Mauve Zone, as described by English occultist Kenneth Grant, is an esoteric realm of space between different forms of consciousness, allowing people to traverse into different planes of existence. This concept is seen in Alan Wake with the Dark Place, Twin Peaks with the Black Lodge, and Pixar's Soul as example with the Zone. Each place is reflective of inner states, often mirroring the psyche or soul, and symbolizing the darker aspects of the subconscious. These realms can offer a transformative experience, providing insights and self-discovery, character development, or even downfall. Failing to integrate the ego in these realms could result in individuals losing touch with their purpose, identity, and sanity. They risk becoming lost in nightmarish realities and can be haunted by their fears without escape. They may also fall victim to supernatural forces and face spiritual or psychological hazards, or might even be replaced by their shadow self embodying their unresolved conflicts, fears, and desires. This happens to Alan as he is consumed by his fear, lost in the Dark Place, replaced by Mr. Scratch, and is desperately trying to write himself back while holding on to what little sanity he has left. In the final scene of the game, Alan quotes, "It's not a lake, it's an ocean." And I believe this here is a further reference to the Mauve Zone, as it is a gateway to multiple planes of existence and alternate worlds. The Mauve Zone is usually depicted as a purple sea, but in other media could be depicted as a body of water such as a lake, sea, or swamp. Cauldron Lake isn't just a lake, it's an ocean filled with different worlds and different realities.
Alan, wake up.
That's all I have for today. If you made it this far, I thank you for watching. Your support means a great deal to me. I look forward to uncovering more symbolism in future videos with you all. But until next time, goodbye.